Welcome to the new episode of OI Playschool's Expert Talk series. Every season brings with it a kind of epidemic, a kind of viral, or a kind of illness. And especially when it comes to our tiny tots, it is something to worry about. Today, let's talk about what has been prevalent in the recent times, dengue. Today we have with us Dr. Faisal Nehdi. Currently, he is a full-time senior pediatrician with a very busy pediatric outpatient clinic with Rainbow Hospitals. He is one of the most senior pediatricians that the city, or as a matter of fact, in the country. He comes with his rich experience of over 15 years in pediatrics. He has done his post-graduation in pediatrics from Pune, and he has been associated with Rainbow for over a decade. Dr. Faisal is known for his pleasing personality, which has made him very popular and loved by not just his patients, that is, his children, but also their parents. On any given day, he consults between 60 to 80 patients. Let's now talk to our expert, Dr. Faisal Nehdi.
Dengue basically is a disease which spreads through mosquitoes, and this is a mosquito-borne virus. Generally, the peak season starts from somewhere around July to November onwards. There are classical symptoms which we see in dengue fevers, and those things generally happens only from a mosquito to mosquito. It doesn't happen from a mosquito to humans, not a mosquito to human to human transmission. Okay, dengue. Generally, the fever patterns what we see can vary from 4 to 10 days, sometimes extend till 14 days. Hardly 10% of the cases would be having some complications which require specific tertiary care or higher end hospital care and those things. Most of the patients would be just having fever, headache, body aches in the first 3-4 days, fevers ranging high grades fevers in the starting. So, it is important for them to hydrate their children well during that time, give plenty of liquids to them. They need a doctor to see their child. And generally there are some problems which sets after third day of fever. Those problems can be a rash and sudden drop in platelet counts, and there will be some fall in blood pressure due to leaking of fluids in the system. Those children require a little bit more attention. Hardly 5 to 10% of cases in my practice I have seen that would require some specific attention, hospitalization and those things. There are many kids who have only mild symptoms. The fear of dengue has caused patients and parents to panic more and come to hospitals, reach to hospitals, but most of the time they can be just observed and sent over home.
So, how late is too late to see a doctor?
So, how late is too late? Most of the times, if you go by the book, there is hardly any thing as such. 2 to 3 days definitely you can wait at home, see how is the fever and those things, manage your children's fever with simple paracetamol. Most important thing is hydrate, give lots of liquids to your children, ensure you hydrate them well, bring down their fevers with simple paracetamols, do spongings. Those things are important and beneficial at home. Hardly 5 to 10% of children may require to see a doctor within a day or two. But generally, if the symptoms, whenever dengue fever goes on, there will be other viral infections also simultaneously go on. So, many a times if the fever is not settling down before 2 days, and if there are high fevers and you are not able to control at home with simple paracetamols and those things, yes, after second day then definitely you need to see the doctor. Generally may not be a thing which may start in all the kids at the same time. Sometimes the rash starts after 4th, 5th day of fever. Some children develop a abdominal rash nearly about by first or second day itself. Give paracetamols, control fever, do sponging, control fevers, do aggressive sponging top to bottom. That should most of the time it helps a lot.
Right.
Okay. Generally after 3 days, 4 days, the fevers might break a little bit. And children may notice some rash. That is a period where some children may face some complications. Complications like blood platelets going down. The fluid leaks in the body, so the blood pressure also goes down. Those children definitely need to be admitted in the hospital and observed. 5 to 10% cases again need hospitalization. Most of these children, if they are monitored well and if their oral intakes are fine, they are just observed on outpatient basis.
I see. So, to kind of summarize this, what you're basically saying is, do not necessarily wait for 2 or 3 days.
If there are some red flag signs.
If there are some
red flag signs are generally very high grades of fever. child being a little bit drowsy, giddiness, vomiting's persistent, yes, you need to see, in those cases, you need to see the doctor early. Otherwise, generally wait for 24, 48 hours, see if the fevers are still going beyond 48 hours, high grade, 101 plus and those things, then you need to see a doctor.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you. Doctor, what are some of the precautions? Is it even possible to take a precaution from
Definitely.
dengue?
See, basically we need to remember one thing. There are two infections which is spread through a mosquito. One is a dengue and another one is a malaria. Dengue season generally starts from July onwards. We see patients till November.
Correct.
Okay, so there is an epidemic kind of season, mostly during this season. We need to see the doctor during that time, or we get patients more during that time with dengue fever. Dengue is a mosquito-borne disease. You need to ensure that your surroundings, especially at home, school, play areas and those things, they are clean of any waterlogging and those things. Okay, flower pots and those things have to be clean. Pest control has to be done a little bit. So that should be helpful. Mosquito repellent creams and those things are generally advisable and can be used. If they are safe, yes, can be used. And barrier methods, full sleeves clothing in the evening time if they are going out. That's important. These are some basic precautions.
Okay. For dengue, they say that the mosquito bites only at a certain time. Is that true?
Mosquitoes generally, Aedes aegypti mosquito is the mosquito which spreads dengue fever. Yeah, it has been scientifically proved that this mosquito generally bites in the daytime more rather than your malarias and those mosquitoes, which may be a little bit different.
Okay.
Most of the times hydration is important. The most important thing many parents get confused and they think is wrong is that whether this infection spreads from person to person. It doesn't spread any time. Dengue doesn't spread from person to person. A mosquito has to be there. Okay, it's a mosquito-borne disease. A dengue patient will not be contagious to another patient. Okay.
But can it give some kind of a viral at all? No.
No.
There is absolutely nothing.
No.
So
then again, a mosquito has to be there.
Okay.
Again, a mosquito has to be there.
So like a cough or whatever is followed with dengue or extreme weakness, or so nothing is possible to be transferred?
No, generally not.
So there are pretty much simple ways of dealing with this.
There are pretty much simple way. Now, most of the time, complications happen very rarely. Okay, complications happen rarely where children have developed extensive cough or fluid which has leaked in the body, has accumulated in the lungs and those things and creating problem, but those are rare occasions. Better not to think about it.
Okay. How rare is this? When you say rare, is there a percentage?
Hardly 1%.
So the very minimal.
Very minimal.
Okay.
Very minimal.
So they usually say that I think one of the biggest side effects of dengue is the blood platelet count dropping.
Blood platelet counts do drop.
Blood platelet counts dropping.
Platelet counts do drop, but there are many things to it also. Platelet counts generally drops after 3rd, 4th day. We see major platelets dropping during that time. Okay, major platelets dropping during that time. We need to hydrate and monitor those patients on a daily basis. Sometimes there are different protocols for it inside the hospital to treat the patients, when to transfuse. Few patients who get admitted also, less than 5 to 10% patients require a transfusion as such for platelets.
What is the minimum platelet count and what is the danger zone?
There is no dictum as such that what could be a danger zone.
Okay.
A 2 lakh platelet count is okay on day 1, but that's a basic count what we have, more than 1.5 lakhs. But that count will not be healthy for me if a 2 lakh count is there today and tomorrow it has become 1 lakh with high grades of fever, with an unstable patients. So platelet counts may not be the only the criteria of illness or criteria of the severity of dengue.
Okay, what are the other?
There are other multisystemic problems, and now we are talking only about patients who get hospitalized. Multisystemic problems can be a child's liver which has enlarged suddenly, child who has more of vomiting, gastritis, okay, too much of headache, giddiness and other complications as such, urine output being going down, blood becoming more thicker because of internal shift of fluids, what happens in dengue, and blood pressure going down with that. Those are some complications which we are going to keep it on a higher priority rather than only platelets dropping.
For any clarifications or queries, please write to us at info@oiplayschools.com.